Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev both weighed in bang on the 175-pound light heavyweight limit ahead of their rematch tomorrow night. They both looked in great shape, as you would expect. They had a face-off after they both weighed in. Andre Ward was the first to initiate the face-off, and he was the last one to turn away. Kovalev stood there staring at Ward with a scowl on his face, said nothing, didn't move his lips. Ward was uttering a few words to Kovalev during the course of the face-off. When you're dealing with fighters that are this experienced, who have fought at the top level for so long, who wins a face-off more often than not means absolutely nothing. It's of no significance whatsoever. It's just a photo opportunity for the photographers and nice pictures for the press and what have you, for people to share on social media. But the reality is it has no bearing on how the fight's going to go. And I don't think it's an indication of anybody showing any signs of mental weakness. Again, when you're dealing with fighters of this caliber who have fought at the top level for so long, not only as professionals, but also as amateurs. Both of these guys were vastly experienced amateurs, and they're both very experienced professionals. So for those of you who want to read into the stare down, go ahead and do it. But for me personally, I don't think it means anything. The fact that Ward was the first to initiate the stare down and Kovalev was the first to turn away, it don't mean nothing as far as I'm concerned. I remember prior to the first fight, Kovalev and Ward looked about the same size. In fact, Ward might have looked even a bit bigger at the weigh-in. But come fight night in the ring, it was Kovalev who looked significantly bigger than Andre Ward in terms of his body size. So he is, without question, the naturally bigger man here. And I expect it to be the same in the rematch. Perhaps Ward has filled out a little bit since the first fight, who knows? But at, 33 years of age, he's not really going to be adding much more muscle naturally at that type of age. So, you fill out a little bit, but you're going to gain more body fat, if anything, rather than muscle as you go into your mid and late 30s. So I'm expecting Kovalev to still be the bigger, stronger man in the ring. And that's what he was in the first fight. Andre Ward is a very strong super middleweight, but at light heavyweight, he hasn't been able to impose himself physically on his opponents the way he did at super middleweight because the guys are just too big and strong. He wasn't able to impose himself on Sullivan Barrera the way he was able to impose himself on people like Carl Froch and Mikkel Kessler, Alan Green, even Saki Obika, who was a very strong super middleweight. So, I'm expecting more of the same in this fight. I don't think Ward will be able to outmuscle Kovalev up close. He might be able to get some work done up close. But if Kovalev decides to tie him up and push him back to the ropes, Kovalev will be able to do that again. One thing I will say, though, is Kovalev isn't used to having to tie people up very often. And I think that's one of the things that actually tired Kovalev out. The fact that there was so much body contact in the first fight. That might be something that Kovalev didn't think about or didn't consider. He just said he overtrained for Andre Ward, that's why he was tired. Did he consider the fact that he's not used to grappling so much? And remember, he was initiating the grappling. It's very unusual for Kovalev to be initiating grappling, but he was initiating grappling to shut down Andre Ward's inside game, particularly in the first half of their first fight. And I think that took more out of Kovalev than he realizes. Is he going to go for the same strategy in this fight? I hope, for his sake, that he's been concentrating a lot in training on the grappling aspect of it. Because that's the next level of physical endurance. When you just got to punch, cool. You can punch for 12 rounds. But when you got to actually physically grapple with a guy and you're not used to that type of fight, it can drain you. Andre Ward is used to that type of fight. That's why all the grappling didn't get to him. He was still full of energy in the second half of the fight and in the late rounds. More energy than Kovalev seemed to have. So I don't think that's just down to Kovalev overtraining, if he overtrained at all. I do think the grappling part of things was a factor. So we're all poised for an intriguing fight. I can't wait to see it. May the best man win. I hope we get a decisive, conclusive result this time, whether it's a knockout either way or a points victory either way. I don't want any more controversy. I like to see a clear-cut winner. So let me know how you felt about the weigh-in, how both guys looked, and all the things I've raised in this particular video. All right? It's Hatman, I'm out.